Hey guys, Angry Monkey here,
And Jackson Ferrell from Hot Pile of Garbage.
and we're doing some more 999, and we have all of Lucy's body parts, but we have to make her body match what you see up there with the 53.2. So we got to figure out what to do there. We started swapping some body parts, and we decided we'll go ahead and make it the next episode. So right now, I kind of have Jackson's left arm right now. We were swapping body parts.
Yep.
So, ow, he's slapping me right now.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's just super strange.
Because he still has control over it, so he's slapping me in the face right now.
Be glad we don't have a face cam. Anyway.
Okay.
Flipping some legs around. We gotta get Lucy up to 53.5. Ooh.
Huh. 53.2.
Oh. I accidentally solved the math.
Yay!
Hey, Junpei, I just heard something. It came from John's operating table. We better check it out.
Okay, so what is John going to give us?
Is he gonna give us his heart?
Oh, what was the song? Give me a little piece of your heart. Little piece of my heart. Janis Joplin song. I don't think she wrote it, but she was
Performed it?
because I think Burt Burns, who was a non-performer, I think he was the one that wrote it because he wrote a lot of songs for a lot of artists back in the '60s, and she was the one that really made that song famous. That's one of the songs that she's known for. It's take it. Won't you take a little piece of my heart now, baby? That's what it is. So.
Didn't know that you guys were going to be tuning into Angry Monkey albums, huh? Anyway,
Hey, Junpei, look at the scale.
gladly.
Ooh.
Huh? The lid on the scale?
There's a key!
Hey, it opened!
It is the key to his heart!
Oh, I get it. It must have opened because we matched John's weight to what's on the chart. I'm gonna tell you about the puzzle you already solved. There's a mark engraved on this key.
I think it's the Jupiter symbol! Yeah, so I think that's the key to get out of here.
Okay. Puzzle solved.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this side.
The entrance to the operating room. It isn't locked, but there's no reason to go back. The only thing back there is a numbered door.
Yep, wrong door. And that's the medicine cabinet with all the chemicals and whatnot. Let's take a look at the camera view. So I think we don't go down the hall. Oh yeah, with the there we go, right?
Hey, hold on.
Junpei stopped, about to put the key into the doorknob.
What's up?
Where's Clover?
Huh?
Junpei turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen.
Gosh darn it, where the heck did she go?
Oh, don't tell me we lost somebody else.
You could tell me better than I could tell me. Alright, okay, just hold on a minute. I'll go get her.
Sure thing.
Junpei left Seven at the door and headed back to the operating room.
Clover, please don't go over the edge.
He found her, standing next to the operating table. She was staring at the mannequin.
Hey, Clover, what's wrong? Come on, let's get out of here.
She didn't respond. If she hadn't been standing up and breathing, Junpei might have thought she was dead.
I don't like the way that music sounds. What are you doing? Did you want to come back here and say goodbye to John?
It wasn't the best joke, but it was something, an attempt to lighten the mood. Clover didn't laugh.
And if she did come back to say goodbye to John...
That would be weird.
Yeah, and in that case, better to indulge the crazy person, right?
She stood, stock still, and said nothing.
Hey, Clover, can you hear me?
Perhaps it was something he'd said, or perhaps it was something else. Suddenly, her mouth opened, and she whispered in a dry, dead voice. My brother might be dead.
Huh?
That's why we couldn't find him. If he's dead, I'm gonna be next. Suddenly, the operating room felt very, very cold.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
He gave her a small shake, but she still didn't respond. The silence grew heavier. Junpei, what did you want to do?
Time to be gentle. Oh, yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly, Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier. He reached into his pocket and dug it out. A 4-leaf clover. Santa had given it to him in the second-class room. He held it out to Clover.
Did you know that each leaf on the 4-leaf clover means something? Hope, faith, love, and luck. Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
He pressed the 4-leaf clover into her hand.
Oh, so that's why the 4-leaf clover is lucky, because the 4th, which 3-leaf clovers don't have, is luck.
Ah.
With the other 3, you just got hope, faith, and love. You know?
Yeah.
And what good are those without luck?
Well, I mean, those are still pretty good, but naturally, the luck is pretty...
It's the crucial thing that ties them all together.
Yeah.
You can't be without luck. Listen to me, Clover.
Listen!
Hey, no matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith, and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck. Snake, I mean, your brother. He's not dead. He's alive somewhere, I'm sure of it. You just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the 4-leaf clover in her hand. Clover stared at the clover. He could see tears start to form at the corners of her eyes. Thank you! Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. I'm not doing this.
Don't blame you.
She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away the tears with baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small wet circles on the floor. Thank you, she said it again. Then she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage.
Now come on. 7's waiting for us at the exit.
But still, she didn't move.
Wait! Before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
For a moment, his mind froze.
Hmm.
Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him, aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh! I guess it was just a coincidence then. I mean that you knew about the 4-leaf clover.
Look, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
Oh, no, it's nothing. Forget about it. Okay, just forget about it, please.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away, even though she is staring exactly how she was, but she somehow looked away. The 4-leaf clover was still in her hand. She stared at it for a long moment, and then finally spoke. Okay, I'm going to hold off for just a minute.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Cross my heart.
Really?
Really.
I can trust you, right?
Of course you can.
Clover slipped a 4-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying. She looked up at Junpei.
Okay then, I'll tell you.
Revelation time.
I'll tell you what happened on the ship 9 years ago.
Wait. On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
He was
entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best, he thought, to save them until Clover had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing. Something about communicating
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Ice 9, crystallizing ethanol.
EDT. And...
Wait, think about this.
Okay. She pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
All Junpei could think was, she has finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke socks?
What?
Or the ship of Theseus?
I was just thinking, this is the John of Theseus.
Junpei grew even more confused. He'd never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
Hmm.
You don't know? You haven't heard of these paradoxes?
Junpei shook his head.
I think I've heard of... Well, I've certainly know about the ship of Theseus. And Locke socks sounds vaguely familiar.
That's because I explained it to you.
Oh! that would explain it.
Junpei shook his head and Clover laughed.
Okay, well pay attention then. This is how Locke socks works. Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
Well, I guess I'd patch it up. Get some cloth and close up the hole.
But what if another hole opens?
Personally, Jackson Ferrell would probably throw it away. Even if it is my favorite pair of socks.
Yeah, it's just a pair of socks. It's...
Yeah, honestly, all of my pairs of socks have at least one pair that is exactly like them. No differentiation there. No special purple socks or anything.
Purple socks.
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Another patch, I guess?
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches until eventually the original sock is totally gone.
That is an ugly sock.
Once you get to the point,
That's a sock with character.
can you really say it's the same socks you started with?
That's tough.
Oh, and audience, I apologize. Don't worry. Future me is going to drop the audio, so that way it's not going to be super loud in your ears. But I still want to go ahead and apologize because this is probably really distorting the audio. But whatever.
We do what we can.
Yeah, we do what we can.
So, that's the Locke socks thing. The Locke socks paradox. Socks of Locks with Knox in box. Fox in socks.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah! The ship of Theseus is a lot like that!
The ship of Theseus, if you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that that ship is the ship of Theseus that you started with? And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus? The one you repaired or the one you built with all the original parts? Now, before we go too much further, I do want to point something out. Because I remember when I was playing this for the very first time, and it really reminded me of Lynyrd Skynyrd. So, here is a timeline of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Okay, so you have the original band members here, and then naturally, a bunch of members died in 1977 from the plane crash. Ronnie Van Zant died. Cassie Gaines died. Steve Gaines died. And so naturally, they came back, and naturally they had a new singer, his brother, Johnny Van Zant. So yeah, Ronnie and Johnny. And they do have a brother named Donnie Van Zant, who's the singer of 30th Special. But anyway, so as you go on here, it's like, okay, so... Okay, Gary Rosington comes back, and Leon Wilkeson comes back after the plane crash, even though he's not original. So we've already lost a few original members for whatever reason. And then going here, Artemis Pyle comes back, but he's not the original drummer. Billy Powell is technically the original keyboardist. But then when you start going down, because naturally Leon Wilkeson, I think he died there. And so naturally...
There in 2001? Thereabouts?
Yeah, I think it was 2001. So naturally, we've had to get a new bass player since then, and then again and again, and as everything goes on, pretty much the only original member is Gary Rosington. He is the only member that's still touring with them, and so it kind of makes you wonder: is it really still Lynyrd Skynyrd?
The rock band of Theseus.
Yeah, because I mean, when you look at this here, let me here's a list of the former members. So, it doesn't say when they died, but I think it will say it over here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of them have died, and it's actually scary on how many of them. Yeah, I was hoping that this would have shown you on who died, but I know he died. I know she died. And he died. He died. He died last year. He died. He died. I'm only familiar with Skynyrd up until they came back in 1990.
So in that gap right there from about 1980 to 1986 or 7, the band just didn't exist, right?
Well, they broke up, of course, because it was one of those. Okay, so we lost our lead guitar player and we lost our singer. So Gary Rosington and Alan Collins created a new band, the Rosington Collins band, and then in 1990, 91 or whatever. Johnny Van Zant took over as the singer, and they made their first album, as you see here, their first album in all that time. And even then, it's like, okay, so even though you have a new singer, you still have a lot of original members and a lot of members who were there from Street Survivors, which was the album in '77, right before the plane crash.
Mm-hmm.
But then, just in that 25 years, it's just it just felt like they were dropping like flies, even though it was still 25 years when you're losing all these guys. And not everyone who isn't there anymore, like let's just say this guy here, I'm not necessarily saying that he died, but a lot of these members have died. And it just kind of made me wonder of, is it still Skynyrd with just Gary Rosington left? I mean, back when they started, or when they restarted, okay, it's still pretty Skynyrd. Out of, let's just say there were 7 members, 5 of them were there on Street Survivors. So it's like, okay, that seems like a pretty good number. But then as it goes on, it's just they start dropping off one at a time. And I don't know, it just doesn't, it's not them anymore.
You don't think so?
No. Anyway, back to 999.
Yeah. Well, that period from the 1980s is kind of interesting to me, because that 5-year period, because it would be like if the ship of Theseus were dismantled and the parts were just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still the ship of Theseus if the parts aren't coming together and playing music and recording albums?
Right. Okay. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, guys. That ran on really long. But let's go ahead and get out of this room. We're almost done with this room. But I wanted to bring up that interesting point with the band of Theseus, as Jackson was just talking about.
Oh, you poor viewers! You get even more content.
Well, they might not even like classic rock for all I know. They'd be like, "Who cares about Skynyrd?" So
yeah. Well, anyway, here we go.
So anyway, yeah.
Hey, listen. Do you think it's still the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Junpei looked down at the operating table. A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like Locke's socks in the ship of Theseus. The part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart or any of a number of internal organs. John's head and heart were both his. But apart from that and a single arm, the rest of his body had once been Lucy's. Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die, new ones are born. Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once.
Ew.
Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate.
Also ew.
If you take it a little further, those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right? That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
The silence was broken by 7. Okay, good.
Hey! What the crud is taking you two so long?
7's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Sorry, I was going on about Skynyrd for 5 minutes.
Thank goodness you didn't have to do that in the voice.
I wasn't going to, but I guess I could if you want me to. No, I'm not.
Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of 7. 7 seemed to catch on.
Oh, what were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret meeting?
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed toward the exit. 7 stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
Yeah. You're Richard.
I call him a dick.
That's an okay word?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, you said it.
Well, we'll go with Richard. That's fine, I guess. With a short laugh, 7 followed.
Huh.
They stood, looking at the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
Alright, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
You don't need to keep asking.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
do
you,
it,
7.
alright?
Fine then.
He slid the key into the keyhole and turned it. He felt it unlock. Okay, so the door opened with a soft, melancholy creak. Beyond it lay a simple white hallway.
And the next episode?
I'm going to wait for it to say you found it. But there was no fanfare or confetti, although that would be cool. But that'd also be kind of creepy.
Future Angry Monkey, edit in some confetti! Or don't.
Yeah, future me, do it if you want. If you don't want to, I understand. And
We're, right now, in this very moment, we're in the same position as the listeners. We don't know whether future you is going to do confetti or not.
That's right. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, okay. So anyway, they simply walked through the door. That was it.
Alright, let's get going.
Hey man, what's up with you? You're so serious, you know? Can't you sound more happy? You know? Get a little excited?
Or... Not really.
Junpei turned away from 7 and took his first step down the simple white hallway.
Yeah, it would take some confetti and fanfare to get me excited at this point.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few moments before that her brother was probably dead and she was likely to follow him. How could he pretend to be happy after hearing something like that? Yay! We found it!
Woo!
Okay,
Go us.
so we are going to stop it here. I apologize for a long episode, but we got out of the room. So in the next episode, we're going to leave the operating room and I guess
Check out the next room.
yeah, we'll figure out where we're going to go from there, and
Yeah, we'll
catch
see
you
ya.
guys next episode. And I hope you enjoyed some classic rock facts. 'Cause
You got him.
yeah.
We'll see you next